I am very fine. And what about you?
I am greater than Accra.
That's good. I am much, much better today than yesterday.
Right. What are we to expect today?
Yes, this morning is going to be pretty cool for us across the 16 regions. We are going to have some partly cloudy skies, and then we expect the sun to also come on. We are having a rainstorm moving from Nigeria. Currently, it's exiting into Benin, Togo. It's going to be running from north to south. But then it has done work throughout the night, so the energy has reduced. So we are anticipating with the sunrise and then the destiny, we are expecting it to rejuvenate. So in the afternoon, we are likely to have isolated to scattered thunderstorms across most sectors.
Right.
So we have to watch out. For the water lake, they will be first to be hit in the next 4 to 5 hours time from now. So they have to be watchful. For the sea, we don't have any massive rain clouds over the sea, but the state is still rough, so they have to navigate cautiously. In terms of temperature, we are expecting it to range between 37 and 40 over the north, 33 and 35 over the middle sector. Along the coastal strip, we expect it between 31 and 33 degrees Celsius. So we are monitoring. Once we are certain, we'll release a weather warning in the next 2 to 4 hours time.
Right.
So let's all prepare as we are going out. Let's get our umbrellas and raincoats. We will definitely release the warning. If the system will push through, will rejuvenate and then affect most areas.
Right. Felicita, thank you so much indeed for your time this morning. Grateful.
Yeah. Thank you too.
Okay.
Enjoy the day.
You too. And school fees week. Last week and this week. There's La General Hospital as well. And then Clocksack has broken ranks with organized labor. They've joined the DDEP, Domestic Debt Exchange Program. They say they are satisfied with the new proposal that has been presented to them from the Finance Ministry. And while we are in between that, La General Hospital, and because the 2-year period that was given for us to complete that project has long elapsed. La General Hospital, walk bear, like bear. Come on. Hey. I trust you are fine this morning. Charlie, whatever it is, be happy with yourself. My motivational quote for you this morning. Whatever you do, do not approach a bull from the front. Whatever you do, don't approach a horse from the back. Whatever you do, don't approach an idiot from any other side. Neither from the front, the back, any of the other side. Don't try it. A bull, don't attack a bull from the front. Approach it, don't try it. And horse from the back, bangabu back kick. And then, as for an idiot, ignore him totally. Go ahead. William Esedu of Current Memory. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Chief. We are good.
We're good.
Grace.
Yes. You need to use your microphone for me, William.
We are good by grace.
Yeah, good by grace. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
BNFT this morning, straight into the news headlines. Second Lady Dr. Dankwa speak at International Women's Leadership Conference. Mobile money exceeds industry expectations, reaching a transaction value of $1.2 trillion in 2022. DBG to engage banking sector in addressing challenges post DDEP. Major step towards vaccine production as President cuts sword for 600 million units capacity facility through the Looking Glass with a SIDA teaching Mensa. That's a feature there. There's also another feature protecting employees, why employers should consider group insurance policies for their employees. On the back page, operationalized fertilizer expansion program to boost agriculture policy link. Ports traffic drop in is affecting our business. Freight forwarders cry out. The Ghanaian Times this morning says flood mitigation efforts, government to halt encroachment on water bodies nationwide. Housing Ministry, National Security join forces to deal with growing menace. President cuts sword for 5 million euros vaccine manufacturing factory at Media in Accra, near Swam, and 132 million US dollars needed to fight HIV annually in Ghana, according to Dr. Chuahine. Consider increasing concessional financing to Africa. Bank of Ghana urges IMF. And woman 35 grabbed at KI over alleged smuggling of $309,120 worth of cocaine. Africa International Auditors meet in Accra. That's on the back page. Whole market traders demonstrate against the MCE. Why? We'll tell you. Daily Guide. I am for Baumia. Joe Wise is the Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He says he's for Joe Wise. Tamale refinery workers protest over shutdown. Nana cuts sword for vaccine plant. Atu forcing to call 9 witnesses in that ambulance case ongoing. Government to demolish 785 buildings on waterways. On the back page, Starlets are UEFA under-16 champions. Congrats to them. I had consensual sex with victim Dani Alves. Argentina hosts under-20 World Cup, and Man City submit 300 million pounds plan to expand the stadium. The Daily Graphic, the biggest and the oldest, says flood early warning system for Accra completed. Asenso Boachi's Minister for Works and Housing invest MDF allocations in income generating ventures. Sichiado Edges Management Committees. Boku conflict, government preoccupation. Asamoah Boateng is our new Minister of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. He assures us there. What's on the back page? Nedco cuts power supply to BTU. Boga NTC over indebtedness. Chips compound for Adaklu Ablon. Kwame Agboche's own corner. William, what do you have?
A finder this morning, JB Dankwa murder, jury abandons duties over unpaid allowances. And former President Mahama is asking us to be wary of politicians who make extravagant promises. Work done to mitigate impact of flooding in hotspots, according to Asenso Boachi, and toll workers to embark on industrial action. Yoko seizes 95 luxury cars suspected to be stolen. 2023 BCE starts on August 7, that's according to WAEC. Work begins on vaccine factory. It has some 600 million vaccine doses a year capacity. That's on the front page of the Finder
newspaper.
Republic Press serving the Republic. Ghana Water.
You know that one, you have to take your time to see it if you lose guard.
Republic Press serving the Republic. Ghana Water Company Limited balls again as staff reject new deputy managing director. Ghana to get vaccine manufacturing plant as Akufo-Addo cuts sword. Ken Des colleague aspirants promises cash splash in presidential race. Kenyan national arrested for smuggling cocaine into Ghana. Assemblyman's son allegedly assaulted 19-year-old boy over cutlass ownership. Government must cancel free SHS and resort to effective scholarship scheme. That's according to an educationist. We'll get to the details later. The custodian newspaper says fearless, fair, and reliable. President cast sword again. That's a story we've touched on already. President cast sword for vaccine plants. Don't throw waste into drains, as Nsubachi to citizens. Joe Wise tips Baumia to lead MPP. Akufo-Addo opens 312 housing units for police today. Central Assembly presents funds items to PWDs, people with disabilities. Ghanaian Times, flood mitigation efforts, government to halt encroachment on water bodies nationwide. Housing Ministry, National Security join forces to deal with growing menace. President cast sword for 5 million euro vaccine manufacturing factory at Media. $132 million needed to fight HIV annually in Ghana, and consider increasing concessional financing to Africa. All on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. On the back page, Africa internal auditors to meet in Accra, and whole market traders demonstrate against MCE. The publisher, IGP tells NDC MPP, keep police out of your politics. Still the vaccine story, and report yourself to Yoko if your vehicle is in this list of 95. There are some luxury cars running around, so they've put the list here. If you see your registration number in the list, you have to report yourself to the police because they suspect that those vehicles were or are stolen vehicles. That's it for me today.
Well, welcome, Helen. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I would love to say I'm greater than Accra, but I'm tired.
You'll be fine.
It's one of those mornings, but it's good to see you. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
It'll be easy.
It'll be easy. You'll be fine. Yes, there's something small to cool you down.
When the sleep is sweet, that's when you have to wait.
You are invited. We Sarad.
You are invited. Way a fruit juice.
You are invited. Way a check up.
You are invited. We chocolate.
You are invited. We a blade.
You are invited. We a splash.
You are invited. We a tangali.
Agada says good morning to you.
Good morning. What was the last one?
Tangali.
Tangali.
I mean, when we were young, we all used to say Tangali.
Charlie.
After 30 years,
Where you realize that Charlie is not Tangali. Anyway, on the back page of the DNFT this morning, some freight forwarders, popularly known as agents, whose activities are mostly at the Tema port, have bemoaned that the recent drop in traffic at the country's port is taking a heavy toll on their businesses. These freight forwarders act as transactional leads or middlemen for importers when clearing their goods at the port, and have had little or nothing at all to do from mid last year till now. The country's economy is basically an import one. However, with the reversal of the benchmark policy, increased taxes and introduction of new taxes and increased shipping line costs, importers have had to find alternative ways of doing business. News was rife early this month that there has been a decline in port traffic since mid last year, with the phenomenon creeping into the first quarter of this year. Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association, Samson Asakia Wingobit, has also expressed worry over the development in an interview with BNFT. One freight forwarder based in Tema, Cefason Seidu, indicated that prior to the upward review of the taxes and increase in shipping line, he used to clear about 8 to 10 containers from the Tema port within a week. This is our story. This is our song. And you know that the ports are the single, if you like, the biggest point where we make all the cash. Even during COVID, we made a lot of money from the ports. Now, the killer taxes, from sin taxes to all the other taxes, and if you have friends who actually clear stuff from the port, they'll tell you that, look, it's so expensive to clear stuff now than to buy them. Exactly. You buy something maybe at $3,000 outside, you're clearing it here for nearly double the price or almost that much. Yeah. And you're wondering how much you're going to sell it here, especially when our manufacturing or our production is not up to scratch. I don't know what went into the thinking for most of those things, because there are 43 items on the benchmark value list that were were reversed. If you look at those items, we seldom produce them here. I mean, we don't produce a cube or grain of sugar here, but on our benchmark value list, it was on. We've taken it off. It's good. It will help for production to happen, but we needed to have done that concurrently.
That's right.
We can't just scrap everything and then come back. So you could have done it maybe 50% or 30%, 70%, and then gradually come to 40 and 60, and then you come 50-50, and then you go, so in favor of a lot more on the local side, in favor of the local side and on the foreign side. Now it's Kojoto. And you see, these freight forwarders have families, they have dependents, they have workers. We are not expanding the economy for people to be able to employ. And here we are. They're complaining now. Plus more taxes have come in.
I recall Ghanaian American comedian Michael Blackson, when he was in town last year, he said he'd bought some container full of, goods for some of his cousins to sell. I think he said the value of the container was $10,000 US. He went to the ports and he alleges that they said it would cost another $10,000 just to clear. And he was lamenting bitterly on social media. And I thought if Michael Blackson, who's making rich man is crying, dollars, and he was up in arms, flabbergasted. He said, "Is this what is going on in Ghana? I'm trying to support some cousins of mine. I've gone and brought goods, $10,000. They said I should bring an extra $10,000 to clear these goods.
Where?
From where?" And people started listing their experiences and made a thread out of it, and it's heartbreaking. And before these taxes were passed, experts were sounding the alarm, but this is going to cripple us. Who is going to be able to afford to do business in a climate like this? But government finds itself, I like this expression, between a rock and a hard place.
Well, between the rock and a hard place, I agree. But again, there's too many other things that we can do rather than taxing the people. I mean, the government in power criticized heavily the modes of taxation that we had in the country at the time when they were in opposition, to the point where they said that if it takes just borrowing and taxing to run a government, any dimwit can run a government. They actually tweeted that. Elements of this government tweeted that. So to come now to have a double dose of, or maybe a triple of what we used to experience back then is not funny at all. I tell you what, one of our colleagues imported a vehicle from US or Canada, one of the countries. And the day he was due to clear the vehicle, he got there and they told him that the exchange rate has changed, so he had to top up. Now, if he didn't have the money at the time to top up, they were going to put his vehicle on auction and sell it cheaper than what he was actually clearing it, for. So he had to quickly make calls. We had to put our resources together for him to be able to get the vehicle out, because he also needed it to run a business. So if I buy a vehicle for $10,000, you're asking me to clear it for $10,000, and I don't have the $10,000. You put your hand on it, or you put the state's hand on it, and then you decide to auction it for less than $10,000. What have you done? What have you done?
Honestly.
So the activities at the ports have slowed down, in my view, because inflation is so high and the taxes are just stifling. So people's disposable incomes have dwindled, or even their general incomes have dwindled. So they are not spending. And government projects too are stalling. So government is not even spending because government does not have the money. So if you import stuff into the country, nobody will buy. A lot of people need vehicles. A lot of people need a lot of things. But I mean, before your salary comes, inflation has eaten away more than 53% of it. So what you could buy last year was say 10 cedis. This year you have to cough up about 20 cedis to buy the same. Yeah. And because you don't have that 20 cedis, your salary has not been increased over the last couple of years. If anybody imports that same stuff, you just forgo it. So the imports are definitely going to slow down, and government is not going to get the revenue that it expects from the ports. So it is important that the government would also have to look at the waste in the system, so that we can balance the taxes and then balance the inflationary trends, and then so our incomes will be stable for us to buy, so that the importers can also, and even if we want to cut down the importation, the businesses within the country that want to also do the manufacturing and the services and things that will cut the imports, because of the taxation and inflation and exchange rates and, if you like, bank rates and all that. They are not able to expand their businesses.
Gota is crying.
They are not able to expand their businesses. They are not able to manufacture. So the economy is just slowing down by the day. And this is the time for us to move away from the taxation into production, as was promised.
Are you sure we're going to move
away?
I
mean, it's a call. I mean, whether they will do it or not.
3 new taxes have been introduced.
But that call will still come. Whether they will do it or not, it's up to them, because we didn't say it. The government of the day made a promise, and that's why I'm happy this morning that President Mahama is suggesting. He's a politician himself, and is known now that extravagant promises are not what we should expect in 2024.
But he's still promising.
We should open our ears, and that's what I'm saying. He's a politician.
Yes.
So hopefully we're just praying that in the next 1 year, things will turn around and we'll learn some lessons and then let Ghanaians breathe a little because times are very hard.
They're very tough.
If the ports are dried up in terms of activities, I mean, those days if you go to the ports, it's a beehive of activities, people moving in and out, cars, the trucks moving.
There are people who actually have they don't work with anybody, but they go to the port, they just, Guru boys facilitate. Charlie, I want to clear my goods. I don't know where to go. So let me take you. Go to this office, that office. When you're done, at least some 50 and 100 would swap hands. And then, so by the close of the day, they know that they're going home with some 200, 150, 300 kind of. Now it's not happening. So how do they take care of their families? Because we are not giving the people jobs. Those who have decided that they want to employ themselves and others, we're also finishing them. We are.
The MPP will shift the focus of economic policy away from taxation to production. So we are going to move away from taxation to production. From taxation to production.
From taxation to production. I say video no lie. Yeah. Anyway, well, let's look at page 12 of the Ghanaian Times. Government to halt encroachment on water bodies nationwide. Housing Ministry, National Security join forces to deal with growing menace. The Ministry of Works and Housing is to join forces with the Ministry of National Security to clamp down on encroachment on the Peshi wetlands and other water bodies across the country. Additionally, the ministry is engaging its counterparts in charge of local government decentralization and rural development to enhance support for assemblies in dealing with the challenge of building in waterways and drainage buffers. According to the Ministry of Works and Housing, Francis Asanso Boachi, that's the minister, the moves have become necessary due to growing human activities which were undermining efforts by the government to address flooding within Greater Accra and other parts of the country. This is what the minister is telling us, that we will.
Yeah, the political will is missing because we run an executive presidency where a lot of the powers of this state are vested in the hands of the president and whose representatives also wield similar power, if you like, because they are representing the president. So if these individuals who work as ministers, DCs, and the government appointees who represent the president don't show political will in what they say and what they do, we have the problems recurring. And this flooding thing, we've seen people at Odona with machines, and then after a few days, nothing happens.
Back to back time.
You come and mention figures that they voted for the projects, nothing happens. We've mentioned this, that the rains have started. I mean, sometimes they give the weather forecast, but because of climate change, sometimes we don't get it right. And that's why we have to be careful what we are doing in terms of these projects that will sort out this flooding in the city. So if you have said that he will, I mean, it's a will.
I find it I find it hard to believe him because
that's what I'm saying.
Because you see, Keta, Angnoga, and Ketu South, they were hit by tidal waves, right?
That's right.
3 times alone last year. The same minister promised that he was going to make sure that they get their sea defense wall, and that he was in talks with the president. He had not visited the place. He has still not visited the place. I remember that when Adan had their issues, he went to Adan. But Ketu North and Ketu South, he never went there. And then he promised them that we're going to get them the flood drain, sea defense wall.
Yeah.
Next year, May, it's a full cycle since the first tidal waves attack happened around those areas. So I don't know if I should believe him, because what he told us a year on has not been done. He has not even attempted to do it.
Johnny, so what
he has not tried.
What like you're asking what we can do as citizens, as the president advised, is to push them. And I'm happy to read on page 4 of the publisher this morning, the member of parliament for Madina constituency, Francis Xavier Susu, has been discharged by the Kanichi District Court. It will be recalled that Francis Susu was hauled before the court by the Ghana police over a demonstration he led his constituents to drum home the need for better roads.
Yes, I remember that demonstration.
He told the court that, look, I'm a sitting MP. What do you expect me to do?
Yes.
I'm supposed to push for development.
Right.
So if I'm pushing for development and you've come to arrest me, what's my crime? And the court agreed with him and they discharged him.
That intimidation.
No. So at the end of the day, and when you as a journalist, you write or you speak or whatever you do to push for some of these things, it's just that's what we are supposed to do.
Yeah.
It is not because you belong to party A or party B. It doesn't mean that you don't vote.
Yes.
So